Welcome into the Boston Sports Summit. I am your host, Tim Barnett, and we are presented by the Grid Network. And what an exciting time it is to be a Patriots fan. We had a few down years the last couple, but now it seems that we are back, baby. And I've been saying that for the last handful of weeks, but it just keeps getting better and better. Why? We beat New York. We beat the Jets last Thursday at Foxborough. What a good game it was. I wouldn't say it was a great game, but it was a good game. We did our job. We got in. We got out. We got the win. That's all that matters. But we are 9-2, and yet you have so many people, especially in ESPN and all the media, talking about how, the Patriots are a fake good team because of the strength of schedule, even though we all knew that going into the season. And then not to mention, we're playing Cincinnati in Cincinnati, and who knows, is Joe Burrow going to play? There's a lot riding on that. So we're going to start off, of course, talking about the Patriots and talking about the fool's gold, as coined by Cam Newton this past week, saying that the Patriots are fool's gold, even though we are 9-2. Going into the year, now I do want to ask you this question. Is this team legit, or is there something that we're missing as fans that, even the media sees that we don't? That Cam Newton sees that we don't. Is there something that we're missing? We don't know what it is, because so many people, all right, strength of schedule is one thing. We'll talk about that in a second. But strength of schedule aside, I don't know. There seems to be something with this team that they're good. They are one of the best well-rounded teams in the NFL right now. But yet so many people are saying this team, it's fake. It's a fake team. They're not going to go far, even though I would say otherwise. So going back to the beginning, the way back in early August, the odds makers had this team at an over-under of 8.5 wins. A lot of the media pundits were saying at worst 7 wins and at most 9 wins. They were right in between that 8.5 frame. And the odds had the Patriots at 80-1 plus 8,000 that we would even make the Super Bowl this year. And the ESPN Football Power Index had the Patriots as a floor at 6-11 and the ceiling at 11-6. Okay, so basically, not a lot of hope was placed on this team at the start of the year. An improvement for sure after going 4-13 in back-to-back seasons, but still not a lot of hope, even though we have a brand new head coach, a brand new offensive coordinator who won multiple Super Bowls as an offensive coordinator, helped coach Tom Brady, and made Mac Jones a playoff quarterback. We also got massive free agent upgrades, and we have an easy schedule. How many times do I have to say that? I know, it's okay. Trust me, it's okay that we have an easy schedule, all right? I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but now that we're 9-2, we beat Buffalo on Sunday night up in Buffalo. Drake May looked like a top 5, if not a top 3 quarterback in the NFL in that game. And we solidified that Buffalo victory by going into Tampa and beating one of the best teams in the NFC. But yet now all the ESPN prognosticators, including Cam Newton, who is the star of the show this week, saying that the Patriots are fool's gold. And that's where I want to kind of jump off, and that's why I asked that question to start. Is there something that you and I are missing when watching this football team play? Because when I watch this team play, they are just finding ways to win. They are going out there, they're doing their job, and outside of the typical first drive of the game, they're going out there and getting the job done. Drake May is looking more and more like a stud week after week after week. His Atlanta game was tough, but don't forget, we had a 21-7 lead before the end of the half fumble, which threw the whole game off for the Patriots offense. And we were poised to blow the Falcons out of the water, not to mention against the number one pass defense, Atlanta. Drake Mays has thrown for the most yards against that pass defense. I think I said pass offense, pass defense. Drake May has thrown for more yards against the best pass defense in the NFL in Atlanta. So a lot of people now are saying that, of course, the Patriots are fool's gold, that they are just – they're getting by because of their strength of schedule, which is by far the worst strength of schedule in 40 years. It's so bad. It's god-awful. And I got no problem saying that because, not for nothing, we knew it was going to be an easy schedule. Hell, I knew it back in freaking June when I said that the Patriots were going to win 12 games this year. Again, I said, played this last week. Take a listen here. This is all in June, by the way. On paper, and the way Drake May performed, I think this team should do pretty good to start the season. I really do. So you're going to go, what is this, 8-1 through the first 9 weeks of the season. 8-1. Ladies and gentlemen, the Patriots are going 12-5 this season. That's right. So I like what I see. I think Vrabel is definitely the coach we needed. My God, what a disaster last year was. Disaster. I said this in June. 12 wins, 12-5, and we're on pace to win 13, 14. If we win out, we're going 15-2. That's insane. And sure, you want to say that you were saying that in jest? Yeah, but I believed it. I was looking at the schedule going, this is an easy schedule. And even though I had us losing to Buffalo and to Tampa, but winning the rest of the games, getting to this point in the season, I had the Patriots at 9-2. Exactly the same. Exactly. Maybe the wins are different, but they were still, I had them at 9-2 at this point in the year. And guess what? They're 9-2. So now these prognosticators are trying to use the strength of schedule as a crutch to say that, oh no, this team is fake. This team is fool's gold. This team is not going to, make it very far when they go up against a good team like a Buffalo, like a Baltimore, like a Kansas City. They're not going to survive come January, of course. And I want to say, does this strength of schedule hurt their accomplishments and what they've done? No, it doesn't. And when you're talking about this strength of schedule, yes, it is one of the easiest strength of schedules, but a lot of people are not understanding the strength of victory. So that is where you look at the teams that you have beaten and you compare and you, again, do the math, and you get out a certain number, similar to strength of schedule. You get the strength of schedule and the strength of victory, okay? So when you're looking at the top 4 teams in the AFC currently, and I'm not doing this, I'm doing by record. So when you're looking at the strength of victory, you have the Patriots are not the last team in the AFC. You have the Denver Broncos having the worst strength of victory, even though they are sitting at the number 1 seed. The Broncos' strength of victory is 0.357. The Patriots sit at second with the worst strength of victory at 0.359. The Colts have the third worst strength of victory in the AFC at 0.361. And then you have the Bills, who sit at 7-4, have a strength of victory of 0.417. So the top 3 teams in the AFC are separated by 0.002. If I did my math right, that is 2 100ths. It's either 2 100ths or 2 1,000ths. Regardless. I'll say 2 1,000ths. 2 1,000ths of a decimal point. That is the margin between the Broncos, Pats, and Colts, who are 9-2, 9-2, 8-2. That's wild. So, yes, the Patriots have the easiest strength of schedule by far. But when you look at Super Bowl winners over the last 10 years, and you look at their strength of schedule within the conference, there it is. The Eagles last year had the 15th out of 16th strength of schedule. And again, it's just the conference. So out of 16 teams, the Eagles were second to last in strength of schedule. The Kansas City Chiefs in 23 and 22, they had the 14th hardest strength of schedule and 15th hardest strength of schedule, respectively, 23 and 22. The Rams in 21 had 12th out of 16th toughest strength of schedule in 21. The Buccaneers in 2020 were 10th out of 16th. The Chiefs in 2019 had the hardest strength of schedule amongst all the last 10 Super Bowl winners, having their strength of schedule ranked 4th out of 16th. The Patriots in 2018 had a strength of schedule of 11th out of 16. The Eagles in 17 were 16th out of 16. The Patriots in 2016 were 16th out of 16th. And the Broncos in 2015 had the 7th hardest strength of schedule in the AFC out of 16. So the strength of schedule matters, but in the reverse way that it would matter, because you would think that being battle tested, going against the top teams week after week after week is going to give you the formula basically on winning in January and winning the Super Bowl. When in reality, it's the exact opposite. You almost want the easiest schedule out there, because then you're beating up on bad teams, and beating up on bad teams can lead to a healthier season, which is going to play out down the road. Because again, out of all of this, you have only three teams that finish in the top 10th of strength of schedule in their conference, while you have 15th, 14th, 15th, that's 3, and then 2 16ths. So 5 out of these top 10 teams had either the 14th toughest, 15th toughest, or were dead last in their conference in terms of a tough strength of schedule. 50% of the teams had awful strength of schedules. Now, none as bad as what the Patriots have this year, and it could get worse. It could get slightly better based on how the Steelers finish, how the Ravens finish, and hell, maybe even the Bengals and how they finish. Joe Burrow may be coming back. So depending on how all of them finish. But even if you want to look at the strength of victory too. Okay, so I talked about the strength of schedule. I talked about our current season and the strength of victory. But if you want to relate the strength of victory to Super Bowl winners, the last 3 teams to win a Super Bowl that had the highest strength of victory were the 2014 Patriots, 2015 Broncos, and 2018 Patriots. Outside of those 3, best of the best, the teams that played the toughest strength of victory, or had the best strength of victory, I should say, did not go far in the postseason. In other words, like they didn't win the Super Bowl, they didn't make the Super Bowl, they didn't win the Super Bowl, they didn't make the divisional round, they didn't make the conference championship game, stuff like that. In other words, they didn't win. It's that simple. Outside of those 3 teams in the last 11 years, dating back to 2014, all the other teams that had the best strength of victory did not do well. And so, I don't know about you, but I don't care that we have an easy strength of schedule and the second worst strength of victory in the AFC. Who cares? Because the Patriots are getting the job done. And this is why, as part of the question to start this segment off, I asked, is there something that we are missing? Is there something when we watch the Patriots every Sunday, and of course we're homers, of course we love the Patriots and we want to see them keep winning. And I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you when they played perfect. I'm going to tell you when they sucked. But is there something that we're missing? Because, yeah, do they give up a ton of opening drive touchdowns? Do they give, does Drake May, turn the ball over occasionally? Yeah. Do we not get enough sacks? Do we not get enough turnovers? Is our turnover differential average at best? Yes, to all of that. But I still look at this team and look at how they play and watch how they play. And they're just killing it. They're playing pretty damn good for a team that has a terrible strength of schedule. The throws that Drake May was making up in Buffalo was wild. Even at the end of that game where Drake May's getting sacked but somehow is able to get rid of the ball to Steph Diggs before his knee hits the ground. Doing the same thing last Thursday. Running out of bounds, getting the defenders on him, and then he just goes right over the top, just like Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen does. Those little things, you're sitting there going, this team looks different. Because they are different. They're not a 2021 New England Patriots team that gets the first seed in the AFC in Week 10 and then just decides to take a nosedive only to get stomped on by the Bills in the wild card of the playoffs that year. That's not this team. I don't see that. There's no way that this team, now again, do they still have the possibility of losing some games for the rest of the year? Of course they do. No team's perfect. No team is, there's still some things that they have to do because at the end of the day, you have to play the game. As Herm Edwards says, you play to win the game. You do. And there are going to be games where you play, you win, everything's smooth and easy. There are going to be other games too where you just don't have it that day. Hence the term any given Sunday. Did any of you think, did you think that the Bills were going to get their asses handed to them by the Miami Dolphins? Did you really see that coming? Because if you saw that coming, please give me your number, give me your digits, DM me down below and say, here is what the Powerball numbers are going to say next week. Because I could use some of that money and I'll split it with you. How about that? If you saw the Dolphins beating the Bills the way they did, you are like, you know something about the future that I don't. And I want to get in on that. I want to make some money, man. So, listen, it's a crazy, crazy situation. And like I said, to look at this and see that the Broncos, even after beating the Chiefs on Sunday, which I'm about to talk about, but I just want to say, even after the Broncos beating the Chiefs on Sunday, still have a strength of victory worse than you, which is crazy. And going into that Kansas City-Denver game, I know a lot of people wanted to cheer for Kansas City. I know a lot of Patriots fans. You got the Patriots media saying, cheer for Kansas City. You want that number 1 seed, so you got to root for Kansas City. It's all about Kansas City, Kansas City, Kansas City. And I'm going to be honest with you. This game, and again, we still have, we're on to week 12 coming up. So we still have 6 more weeks left of the NFL season. We still got time. But this game, you either saw Mahomes get another step closer to being out of the playoffs for the first time in his career, or Denver loses sole possession of the number 1 seed, and then you climb right up into that. You got a half-game lead over the Colts. You got a full-game lead over the Broncos. So that's where that game stood. And like I said, I'm going to be honest with you. Of course I wanted the number 1 seed. Of course I wanted sole possession. And of course I knew that meant cheering for a team that I just have so much disdain for. And again, it is what I don't hate personally. It's just, again, it's good old-fashioned sports hate. Let's put it that way, okay? Good old-fashioned sports hate. I have so much good old-fashioned sports hate for Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I just do. All right? Not hard. But as I'm watching that game, as it's going back and forth, and enough out that it wasn't a great offensive game from either side. But no matter how much I wanted that number 1 seed and was trying to bring myself to root on for Kansas City to get them at 6-4, I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to cheer for Kansas City because I know that it was week 11 and we still have 6 more weeks in the season. But it was just like, you're telling me to cheer on the enemy that I just had so much good old-fashioned sports hate the most in the last 8 years. I don't know if there's another team that I've had that much good old-fashioned sports hate for. I know I keep saying that, but I swear if I cut the first half of that line off, good old-fashioned, people are going to be like, you can't hate this, that, and the other. It's like, it's sports, damn it. Come on, relax. People get so wound up in words nowadays. It's crazy. I don't hate anybody. Well, otherwise, it's like, I couldn't do it. Even though I know the history doesn't favor New England going into Denver. And God forbid Denver wins out, because not for nothing, they still have to play Kansas City later in the season. Christmas Day. They still have to play the Chargers. It's not all sunshine and rainbows for the Broncos finishing off the season. And you could argue it's not all sunshine and rainbows for us either. I mean, yes, we're playing the Bengals, we're playing the Giants, then we got our bye. Then we have probably the two toughest games remaining being home against the Bills and then at Baltimore. Then we're at the Jets and we're home against Miami to finish the season. We have, out of those games, on paper, we have really only two tough games remaining, and that's home against the Bills and at Baltimore. The other games, we should win. Key emphasis on the word should. But the $1 million question is, okay, yes, it's great. While one side of me is excited that, hey, Kansas City, they're not even going to make the playoffs this year. It's like, yes. But with that being said, what if Denver is the number 1 seed and you're the number 2 seed? How does that bode for you? Do you like that? Do you want to go to Denver in January for the AFC Championship game and win and try to win at Mile High to go to the Super Bowl? Because when you're looking at the history, the Patriots going to Mile High, playing the Broncos in January, we're 0-4. The first time that happened was in 1987. That was before my time. But I remember the 06 game. Tom Brady's first ever playoff loss after starting 10-0 in the playoffs. We lost in 06 in Denver, and that is when Champ Bailey made the interception, ran all the way down. Ben Watson drills him at the 2-yard line. The ball clearly goes out of bounds and, in the end zone, out of bounds for a touchback. But the NFL and the script writers already had it in there that no, it's going to be Denver ball at the 2, and they're going to score a touchdown, and they're going to run away with it. Sorry, Ben. You got screwed. We all got screwed as Patriots fans that night. That ball clearly went out of bounds in the end zone, which should have been a touchback. I don't know how they didn't see that. Crazy. Otherwise, that was 2006. In 2013, we were stacked with injuries. And I'm not blaming injuries on that, because that was also the same year that Denver was just running away with games. Peyton Manning looked like a totally new quarterback, just picking apart everybody, leading the league in points scored. And we had Tom Brady throwing a freaking Matthew Slater, Austin Collie, Julian Edelman in that game got 15 targets. Like, Tom Brady had no one to throw to, no Gronkowski, no Hernandez at that time. Like, it was a crazy situation. It was just a crazy year. And the fact that we made it that far is still kind of surprising. But that was 2013. And then in 2015, Belichick got so full of himself that he made it a point to run Steven Jackson for the first 20 plays of the game. And in Miami in week 17. And then we lost to Miami in Miami when we easily could have beaten them. But Belichick was so hell-bent on Jackson and moving the football, and nothing happened. We couldn't move the football with Steven friggin' Jackson, older, but still. And we gave up. We lost our home field advantage because of that. Because Belichick thought to himself, oh, well, we can win wherever. we're so good, we're going to win wherever. Well, you lost to Manning in his noodle arm. Manning's noodle arm, the guy couldn't throw the football, and you still lost to him. Even though it was basically Brady and Gronk. They tied the game. They were about to tie the game up. They had the 2-point conversion, but Brady looked to his right, and if he looked to his left, he had Amendola, I'm pretty sure it was, wide open in the end zone all by himself, no one around him. And that would have tied the game up, and we absolutely would have won in overtime that year. No two ways about it. But Brady threw it into coverage, and we fell short and lost by 2. It was just an absolute heartbreaker, and it was so aggravating because Peyton Manning couldn't throw the ball. You saw that in the next game at the Super Bowl. He didn't do jack. The only reason why they won is because of Von Miller and that defense. That's why Denver won and beat Carolina. And we had the opportunity to go out and do that. You know, hell, we could have made, 6 straight Super Bowl appearances dating back to 2014? I'm not going to give us 13. That's fine. You know, we were all kinds of banged up. And then to go into play against that Seattle defense, I'm not saying we wouldn't have given them a good game, but it definitely would not have been what Denver gave them. But at the same time, I still don't think we would have beaten Seattle in 2013. But if you go back to 14, we could have been in the Super Bowl in 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. All right, so 5. We could have made the Super Bowl 5 straight times. We were in the Super Bowl 4 out of those 5 years. And we won 3 of them. And I'm not complaining about that. I'm not. But it's wild to me. So Denver is a house of horrors for us. And yeah, I don't trust Bo Nix. The only guy I'm afraid of on that offense is Cortland Sutton. But that's why we have Christian Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez can wrap him up. Then what? You got Marvin Mims? Okay. Like, that Denver offense doesn't scare me. That Denver defense and Vic Fangio, that's a damn good defense. There's a reason why they are where they are. And yes, I don't like Denver. I don't trust Denver going forward. I don't. I think if you're talking about fool's gold, that's Denver right there for you. Even though, yeah, they just beat Kansas City. But ultimately, though, yeah, Denver's a good team. Just like I said last week, Denver's a good team. Indianapolis is a good team. And if you're looking at Indy, they're going to have to, as it stands right now, they're going to have to come to us. They're going to have to come to Gillette, especially if they lose again. If they lose and we keep winning, then that works out. I mean, Indy's got to play KC this week. So, yeah, you're kind of rooting for Kansas City. It's like, damn it, I don't want to, but I have to. And Indianapolis is a dome team. And you think Daniel Jones is going to come out slinging the ball against us? He's going to have to. If our run defense can still hold up and still hold strong, come January, and we get all our guys back and stay healthy, them being in a dome to come into Foxborough in the middle of January, yeah, I'll take us all day long on that, without a doubt. And don't get me wrong, I love Jonathan Taylor. He's a hell of a back. But he can be stopped. I've seen it. Seen it firsthand. So, yeah, it's interesting to see kind of how this season is unfolding. And you're talking, like I said, all these sports media guys talking about how the Patriots are fake, and at least most of them are. They're a fake team because they have such a easy schedule, this, that, and the other. Well, there are other stats out there that say otherwise. And with what my two eyes are telling me when I watch these games, this is a damn good team. This is a very damn good team that this is not the 2021 New England Patriots. That I know for certain. And I'm hoping that we do. I hope when we get the number one seed and that the road to the Super Bowl leads through Foxborough, because I'll tell you know it and I know it. Foxborough is a house of horrors for a lot of other teams. So let's have some fun with that, shall we? But moving on, we got to talk about the Jets game last week. I predicted that the Pats were just going to annihilate the Jets. It wasn't going to be close from start to finish. And for the most part, it kind of was. But the opening drives that the Jets scored on, sorry. Sorry. The opening opening drive that the Jets scored on just continues to boggle me, continues to drive me nuts, because we can't get stops at all on the opening drive of the game. We've only done that 3 times all season. First drive of the game from every team, starting with the Raiders. Opening drive, Raiders, touchdown. Miami, 3-and-out punt. Steelers, touchdown. Panthers, touchdown. Bills, fumble. Saints, field goal. Titans, field goal. Browns, touchdown. Falcons, punt. Bucks, touchdown. Jets, touchdown. On 73% of the first drives of the season, of the first drive, the first drive, 73% of the teams have scored points on the opening drive. Okay? 73. And then, if you want to break it down even further, okay, so that's 6 touchdowns over 11 games. 55% of teams are scoring touchdowns, not just points, but touchdowns. So while 73% of the teams are scoring points, 55 are scoring touchdowns, which is way worse. Because if you don't get the ball first and then score a touchdown, you're going to find yourself in a hole. And that's exactly what happened with the Jets. They marched down the field like we weren't even ready. And one of my biggest problems was, or what I thought was actually going to be a strength for us, was obviously our run defense. And with our run defense, it was going to be pretty straightforward. Stop Breece Hall and stop Justin Fields. It wasn't hard. We know that Justin Fields is going to drop back and then he's going to run. You're going to need to set the edge and have a spy on him so that he doesn't break runs. And what did he do? He goes out and broke several runs that, thank God, our defense is better than that, and that Justin Fields can't throw worth a damn, because some of his throws were just absolutely god-awful. Throwing 15 for 26, having a 54.1 QBR. But Fields ran 11 times for 67 yards and a touchdown. Like, guys, what are we doing? You know? It wasn't a hard thing to predict that Justin Fields is going to get yards via his legs. You should have been prepared for that. And while the game went on, yes, it didn't happen as frequently, but it happened enough early on where it's like, okay, something has to be done here on these opening drives. They really do. I don't understand. Are we just not ready? Is the game plan to start off just not good enough? Do we predict run when they pass and pass when they run? You know, that's where I'm really starting to second guess kind of what's going on. But moving into our game day grades, starting off with A's, okay? Week 11 game day grades versus the New York Jets. For A, I gave it to Drake May, Jared Wilson, and Christian Barmore. Now, Drake May had another great game, going 25 of 34 for 281 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, an 83 QBR, and a 107.6 passer rating. The dude, again, how many times do I got to tell you how legit Drake May is? This is why I'm saying that Drake May is not Mac Jones and that this will never be the 2021 New England Patriots, even though we're 9-2 and we're tied, technically second, for the number 1 seed. The one thing I still don't understand about Drake May in this offense is how he still cannot connect with Kyle Williams. A guy who's gotten more 100-plus passer ratings than any other quarterback in the NFL this season, and is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL this year, yet still can't connect with the rookie wide receiver. He got that great 72-yard touchdown last week in Tampa, which was massive, don't get me wrong, but he just they do not have that connection. And I'm sitting there going, okay, the most accurate quarterback in the NFL is not connecting with the only receiver. Do you not see kind of where the problem lies? Because while it is easier to blame the quarterback to some degree, I would argue it's Kyle Williams all day long. Kyle Williams still doesn't understand what he's doing and how to read coverages and break it down. Because if he did, he would be getting to his spots and Drake May would be drilling him. I think Drake May is throwing the ball exactly where it needs to go. Williams is just running the wrong route. And if you think I'm wrong, comment down below. Otherwise, Drake May was fantastic. Again, moving around the pocket, getting rid of the ball, even that deep shot to Mac Hollins. Hollins did have to slow up just a touch, but what a thing of beauty. Right in the breadbasket, and Hollins knew that he should have had that. You know, even the incompletion by Stephon Diggs. Diggs, you know, the one where he came up grabbing his hip. Diggs knew he should have had that. But even still, I said it earlier, Drake May running to the sideline, just flipping the ball, flick of the wrist, right to Diggs. Like that's a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes type play. This is why Drake May is that dude, in that he needs to stay healthy. And I'm going to talk about that too, right, when I'm going to talk about the Cincinnati game. Otherwise, I gave it to Jared Wilson. Jared Wilson looked great. Really nothing coming from his side. Nice to see the rookie play his best game. And then Christian Barmore. He got his first sack of the season. He had 4 pressures, 2 tackles, and played a season-high 81% of the snaps. Now, it's going to be interesting because Milton Williams did get hurt, and we're going to need Barmore, Tonga, Ponder, and that D-line to step up. I think they can. I think they can do it. But with Milton Williams going on the IR, it's part of the grades, but it's Christian Barmore played a great game. Let's put it that way. And then for B's, I gave it to Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins, Robert Spillane, TreVeyon Henderson. Now, starting TreVeyon Henderson, again, hat trick with the touchdowns, but I felt like his running kind of came back down to earth. And I say that because he only averaged 3.3 yards per carry on 19 carries. And he only had a longest run of 9 yards. So while the 3 touchdowns were great, and while he proved again to be a valuable piece in this offense, I still think that it was a good game from him, but not a perfect game. Not a great game. Touchdowns definitely help out with that, but there are still some other aspects. And one of the parts of this game that I did like was he had 5 catches for 31 yards, and obviously that floater in the back of the end zone where he's all by himself kind of reminded me of the Tim Tebow jump pass versus LSU in the swamp when he jumped and his tight end there is backing up, falls on his ass. That's kind of when I was watching that ball float up in the air and Henderson kind of backing up like that. I thought that the two were one and the same. It was pretty funny to me. But again, Travion can do more than just run the football. He can be a weapon in the passing attack as well. So that's why I gave him a B. Now, Matt Collins, he got 4 catches for 64 yards on 5 targets. Very good game. That one target would have been clutch and probably would have pushed him over 100 yards. Otherwise, good game from Matt Collins. Robert Spillane, just guys all over the place. Love Spillane, love his energy and the leadership that he brings to that defense. 9 total tackles, 5 solo tackles, and a pass breakup. Had a great game. Stephon Diggs, another game over 100. I think he's on pace right now to break 1,000 yards. Coming off his ACL tear. As long as he stays healthy, I mean, 9 catches, a $105 on 11 targets. Only 2 incompletions thrown to him. Great game. As for C, I gave it to Andy Borregales. He was perfect on his PATs. Can't fault him there. But that missed 45-yard field goal right at the half, which would have given us a 10-point lead going into the half, I think it kind of changed the Jets' attitude a little bit. So instead of being down 17-7, them only now being down 14-7, and that we missed our opportunity to get a double score there, definitely hindered. Obviously not a lot, but I think not only gave the Jets more juice, but also put a little bit more worry in me. Because, again, it's a divisional round. When you miss opportunities like that, you need to capitalize, man. Like, you need to get those points. If you missed a field goal in the second half, fine. But at that exact moment, you could feel the momentum swing. Obviously not enough because the Jets just flat out suck. But it was enough to put a slight more worry in me than normal going into the halftime. And you could tell, too, with Aaron Glenn in his halftime interview, how excited he was. He's like, all right, we're only down 7. Like, let's go. We got this. Like, they're still in it. Not to say that they wouldn't be in it down 10, but just the attitude and the momentum definitely swung in the Jets' direction a little bit. So that's why Borregales, even though he's 2 for 3 and perfect on point after attempts, he gets a C from me. Now, D's, I talked about this, the opening drive defense. In 11 games, 6 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 2 punts, both of which were 3 and outs, and then 1 fumble. It's crazy to me that our opening drive defense is still putting up with this crap. They're still doing this. They're still putting our offense in a bind, in a situation where they're playing from being behind, which I guess you could say it gives them the motivation to, I guess, come out and play better maybe, or that if the Patriots offense wasn't already in the game, oh, damn, we're down 7 now. All right, let's lock in, guys. We got to get a comeback going, even though it's the first drive of the game, but you know what I'm saying. So they really need to get better at that, especially come January. Yes, they need to get better by Buffalo at home and then Baltimore the next week. But if they're still doing this in January, then we're done. It's that simple. Like, we're not going to go far if our opening drive defense keeps giving up points immediately. We can't be doing that in the AFC wild card, in the AFC divisional round, in the AFC championship game, and hell, even if we make it, we can't be doing that in the Super Bowl. It's not going to be good. It's not going to work. So they really need to get their act together, because we're 11 games in, and 73% of the teams have gotten points. 8 out of 11. That's unacceptable. I understand our defensive coordinator's healing up. He's in the hospital. I pray that he gets better and he completely heals, and that he will be here to coach either the end of the season or next year. But Zach Kerr really needs to get his act together and get that defense on the same page immediately. And then finally, F, the Milton Williams injury. Milton Williams has absolutely, in my opinion, lived up to that contract so far. And it was a massive contract. Now, maybe some of the stats don't show it, but his disruption in the middle of the line has been huge, and really gotten after the quarterback, really made all the quarterbacks that we played throw off balance, get sacked. Maybe that's where Kayvon Chason or Harold Landry come around the edge, and they're backing, the quarterback's backing up because Milton Williams is getting that pressure, pushing the pocket back, and that's where those two edge guys come up with the sacks, all started by Milton Williams. So he was placed on IR due to a high ankle sprain, and even though he did leave and tried to come back, he obviously couldn't. He only played 8 snaps in that game last Thursday. But like I said, he's been instrumental. He was a sub-in guy. He was a third down pass rush lineman out in Philly, and now he's got a real opportunity. He's had a real opportunity to play all 3 downs. Like, he's been a 3-down guy and really pushed himself and gotten after it and exceeded, in my opinion. And I've loved every second of it. I mean, that's why he's been instrumental in the fact that our defense ranks first in rush yards per game, 8th in total yards, and 5th in points allowed. He's been a big reason why we're like that. And now, the tough part about the IR thing is that the IR is you're out for 4 games, not 4 weeks, which means he's going to be out for Cincinnati, the Giants, Buffalo, and Baltimore, which sucks. The fact that he's going to be out for especially those last 2 games, that's going to be huge, huge. Going against Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson is not going to be easy. And we already know about Josh Allen from playing them in Buffalo earlier. Now we're home, but it's going to be a tough one no matter what. I mean, Josh Allen's not afraid to come into Foxborough and play tough. So I'm excited for this game, to be honest with you. I was happy that we got the win. It definitely, right around mid to late third quarter, you could tell game was over. Jets had no shot. And that's why the Patriots are clear for takeoff. I always got to say the show's name once, right? Just like movies. You got to say the name of the movie in the movie. So on Sunday now, we're going to be playing Cincinnati. And the Bengals are 3-7. We are 9-2. And all hope seems to be lost for Cincinnati, except for the fact that Joe Burrow started practicing late last week, and he's been a full participant as of yesterday and today, and very well could play coming off a major turf toe injury, which is crazy because it was supposed to be a 3-month injury, and we're at month 2. So, like, he wasn't supposed to come back till mid-late December. But even though he might be coming back, they're also losing Jamar Chase in that fact. So, with that, I kind of looked at the positional comparisons, and I'll be honest, I also I don't want to say predicted because it makes it sound like I made this without the Joe Burrow information. Okay. Like I didn't know he was practicing fully and all of that when I did this. But even still, as it stands, yeah, I would take our quarterback, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, O-line, D-line, linebackers, DBs, and special teams. Though I do kind of like Evan McPherson. I will say that. He's Florida Gator, man. Evan McPherson. Evan. Not to say that I'm cheering for him, but yeah, I do like the kid. He's a good kid. But when it comes to Cincinnati, yeah, an injured Joe Burrow, like, yeah, he might be practicing fully, but I don't even know if he's fully healthy. He might have just gotten shot up, feels good enough, his injury's healed enough, and that's why he's able to play and practice fully. And even though Joe Burrow might be playing on Sunday, like I said, I thought Joe Flacco would be playing. And so when I look at the QB comparisons, you have Drake May playing 11 games to Joe Flacco playing 9, five of which are with Cincinnati. Drake May's thrown for 2,836 pass yards. Flacco's thrown for 1,453. Drake May's got a 72% completion percentage, where Flacco's got a 63.4. May's thrown 20 touchdowns to 5 picks, whereas Flacco has 12 touchdowns to 3 picks. Drake May's got a 113.2 passer rating to Joe Flacco's 96.2. And then the quarterback rating is 73.2 for Drake May, and the QBR for Joe Flacco is 46.6. And just to let you know, all the stats that I just read you outside of the amount of games Joe Flacco has played, that being 9, the rest of these stats that I just read for Joe Flacco are all stats while he's played for the Bengals. And the other massive loss for this team, and not for nothing, there are several massive losses for this team. You have Jamar Chase getting into Spitgate 2.0 this season because it happened with the Eagles and Jalen Carter in game number 1 when they played in Brazil. And now Jamar Chase spit against Pittsburgh. And you're thinking to yourself, like, what are you doing? And they upheld his 1-game suspension, which is against us. Now, from a selfish fan perspective, of course I'm glad that he's not playing. Of course I'm glad that it's an easier game because you don't have one of, if not the best wide receiver in the game playing on Sunday. But from a competitive perspective and a perspective where you could get all these mainstream media pundits to shut the hell up, saying that, oh, fake wins, fool's gold, this, that, and the other, then yeah, of course, and from a competitive perspective, of course you want Jamar Chase in. Of course you want to see Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, and Carlton Davis all going against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Andre Yoshivas, who is their slot guy, but he's like 6'2", 6'1". So he's a big dude going against a 5'8" Marcus Jones. And then you have Trey Hendrickson listed as doubtful. You have their arguably best cornerback, Cam Taylor-Britt, done for the year. Like, this team is just not good. Yes, they have Chase Brown. Yes, they have T. Higgins. And yes, they could very well be getting Joe Burrow back. But Joe Burrow also hasn't played a football game since early September. It's been a long time without him. And so when you're looking at the stats, The Patriots offense has thrown for 244.1 pass yards per game, which is 7th best in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Bengals defense allows 257.3 pass yards per game, which is 2nd to last. The Patriots run for 112.9 yards per game, which is 20th in the NFL. But the Bengals allow 161 rush yards per game, which is dead last in the NFL. The Patriots score 26.5 points per game, which is top 10, 7th best in the NFL. Whereas the Bengals allow 33.4 points per game, which is 32nd in the NFL. They suck on defense. Absolutely suck. Trash. Garbage. Even with Trey Hendrickson, even with Cam Taylor-Britt, this team does not know how to play defense if it bit them in the ass. Like, if you needed your life to be saved just from the Bengals defense, I'm sorry, but you might want to make peace with God and say, I'm going to be coming soon because the Bengals ain't going to stop anybody. So they are not good defensively. Meanwhile, on the other flip side of it, the Bengals passing offense throws for 225.7 yards per game, which is average, 14th best. Meanwhile, the Patriots defense allows 215.9 pass yards per game, which is 17th in the NFL. The Bengals can't run worth a damn, running for 81.4 yards per game, which is 30th in the NFL. And again, the Patriots have the best rush defense in the NFL, allowing only 84.7 yards per game. And then when it comes to scoring, the Bengals score roughly 22.8 points per game, which is 18th in the NFL. But the Patriots only allow 18.7 points per game, which ranks top 5, 5th in the NFL. So, again, even with Joe Burrow, I am not afraid of this team. I am not. I don't know how you can be. Yeah, Joe Burrow is an elite quarterback when he's fully healthy, when he's ready to go. And, I mean, you want to look at the turnover differential. I mean, New England is average, tied for 15th with a 0 turnover differential. Meanwhile, the Bengals are tied for 27th at a -7 turnover differential. It would probably take New England turning the ball over 7 times for Cincinnati to beat us. Like I said, I don't see it. My prediction of this game is very simple. I think the fact that Joe Burrow is coming back, Cincinnati is going to score some points, but New England should blow the Bengals out of the jungle, beating Cincinnati 42-17. That's my prediction of this game. I don't see how New England can be stopped offensively. And with the rumor that we could be getting Kayshon Boutte back and Ramondre Stevenson back this week, again, it just adds more fuel because May and Boutte is a hell of a lot better than May and Kyle Williams. I can tell you that much. And the last thing I do want to talk about, because we are playing the Bengals and because Joe Burrow is or could be coming back from injury this week, and if not this week, it probably sounds like he definitely will next week. It got me to thinking that Joe Burrow is the superstar for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's the superstar. In his second year, he brought them all the way to the Super Bowl against the Rams and nearly beat them, even though he led the league in getting sacked. Like, he is a stud. He is a quarterback that, man, he needs to get out of Cincinnati. The fact that they're supporting him by giving him weapons is great, but the dude is injured left and right. Why? Because his O-line can't protect him. Drake May has the ability to run. Joe Burrow kind of has the ability to run. Joe Burrow is not a Drake May runner. Joe Burrow is not a Josh Allen runner. It's not like Burrow is getting yards with his feet. That's not his game. He can scramble out of the pocket, find a guy and throw on the run, that type of thing. But he's always in the pocket. He is a pocket passer with the ability to run and throw on the run. But not Justin Fields, not Drake May, not Josh Allen. And I don't want to kind of put Patrick Mahomes in this category, but kind of. I would say Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are more in line with their run style, but Joe Burrow needs to stay healthy. And like I said, with that, I started thinking of Drake May, because Drake May is top 5 in the NFL in being sacked and being hit. And if we are going to have a Dynasty 2.0 with Vrabel and May, we need to make sure that O-line can protect him. And that is huge. What do you think the Patriots should do down the road? Do you think the Patriots should get Drake May all the skill weapons and all those types of guys, the true number 1 receiver, the A.J. Browns, the Puka Nakuas, Jamar Chases, Justin Jeffersons of the world, and build up the skill position around him so that he's got guys to throw to? Or do you want to build up that offensive line? Comment down below and recreate that O-line of the 90s Cowboys at best. Because Drake May has the potential to be a superstar in this league for a very, very, very long time. He is 23 years old. He is a child. And he's already playing at such an elite level. When was the last time a quarterback has completed 72% of his passes for a season? Not a game, not a month, a season. And he is 23 years old, throwing to the likes of Stephon Diggs, Matt Collins, Kayshon Boutte, Pop Douglas, and hell, even Kyle Williams. Do you consider any of those guys to be number 1 true diva receivers? And diva is just an added thing. I'm just saying, true number 1 receivers. You could say Stephon Diggs, sure, but he's also coming off an ACL. And he's been playing great. Loved every second. His contract has absolutely been worth it. And really, his leadership, too, off the field has been great as well. But I've always lived with the motto. During my days at Florida, I kind of, I developed this. And a lot of people have, too. Like, it's not just me. But I understood that if you want a successful offense and a successful defense, it all starts in the trenches. Now, of course, that offense is predicated that you have the quarterback, which we do. But it all starts in the trenches. I've always said, since my days at UF, when I was a part of working for the football team as a recruiting analyst, that in order to an elite offensive line and an elite offensive line can make average wide receivers look great. An elite defensive line can make average DBs look great. And why do I say that? Starting with the offensive line, an elite offensive line that is giving their quarterback all the time in the world to sit in that pocket, diagnose what's going on, and get rid of the ball. That elite offensive line is giving the quarterback plenty of time to sit in the pocket, diagnose the field, like I just said, but it's also allowing time for the receivers to get open, to find the soft spots in the zone, to, hey, I just ran my route. The quarterback still hasn't released it. Oh, now he's running scramble drill time, which means get open. And they do. And doesn't have to mean that, the scramble drill doesn't always mean that the quarterback is getting pressured. It just means that he's sitting in the pocket, the bell goes off in his head, and he just has to move. Otherwise, he's going to get sacked in that pocket. That's what it means. Sometimes he can still stay there, but he doesn't have to. So the fact that O-line is giving the quarterback enough time, it means he's given enough time for the wide receivers to get open. Whether they find the hole in the zone, or they beat their man one-on-one, or they make a quick move and all of a sudden they gain separation and bam. Then the quarterback gets rid of the ball and hits him right in the chest or hits him right in the hands. And same thing goes for an elite defensive line. An elite defensive line makes average cornerbacks look great. Why? Because if you have an elite defensive line, they are going to be getting to the quarterback in under 2 seconds. And if they get to the quarterback in under 2 seconds, or if they're pressing the line up in under 2 seconds, 2.5 seconds, that's not going to give the quarterback enough time and the wide receivers enough time to get open. And so, yeah, your DBs might be average, but they don't have to be on the receivers for that long before the quarterback just has to chuck the ball up in the air and pray to God that it comes down in his teammate's hand. Otherwise, that's either going to hit the ground or it's going to be an interception for you, or the quarterback's going to get sacked. So that's kind of the situation that you want. I want an elite offensive line, and I want an elite defensive line. Now, our left side of the line is getting there. We're giving Will Campbell and Jared Wilson plenty of time. Jared Wilson just had his best game as a pro. Will Campbell has been a steady force, and took care of Tremaine Johnson on Thursday night. Those guys, I think, are going to be good. Now, ideally, I would like to move Jared Wilson to center, but for right now, we're chilling on the left side. But with Garrett Bradbury, Michael Wenu, and Morgan Moses, Morgan Moses has been very good this year. I don't want to talk about Cleveland because you're going against a future Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett. I mean, come on. I don't care who you are. Unless you're a future Hall of Famer, right tackle or left tackle, going against Myles Garrett, then you got to fight. Otherwise, you're done. But you have those three. Bradbury, we need to get rid of at the end of the year. He's been suitable. He's been stable. But I don't think he's been good enough to continue to be here come down the future. Now, again, I am talking down the road, but it basically my point of this exercise was to say that Drake May could very well carve out a great legacy career if he gets the protection needed, or he could carve out a legacy more like Joe Burrow. And I don't want that. You don't want that. No one wants that. We want Drake May to stay in New England, and if he keeps playing the way he does for the rest of his career, retire as a New England Patriot, not walk away and go to Tampa because our head coach was too rough, which I don't think. Vrabel's not Bill Belichick, okay? Let's just throw that out there right there. Vrabel is not Bill Belichick. Far frickin' from it. He loves his guys, and his guys love him. So, moving that aside, May retire a Patriot, have a great, successful career here in New England. That's what we want. That's what we want to see. So, as much as I want to go out and trade for A.J. Brown, as much as I want to go out and trade for a top-tier receiver or draft the best receiver in next year's draft, I don't care, because we need to stabilize our O-line and make sure that we can do our best to recreate, in my mind, the 90s Cowboys offensive line. Hell, if we got to clone them, let's freaking clone them. We're saying that Drake May is a clone of Tom Brady because Tom Brady likes to clone things. So why not, right? Drake May's a clone. Our O-line can be clones. We're done. There we go. New England Dynasty's back, guys. So, again, it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I think this Sunday, even with Joe Burrow coming back, we should run away with this, no problem. And I'm looking forward to it. Again, we're a good team. I don't think there's anything that, we're missing, because from what I see with my own two eyes is that we're a damn good football team. We are not the football team of 2021. If anything, we're closer to the 2001 Patriots than we are to the 2021 Patriots. And I like those chances of being the 2001 Patriots in 2025. If that's a correlation, I'm good with that. So tell me what you guys think. I really appreciate you taking the time, sitting down, listening. It was a lot of fun talking some Pats. We got a big game coming up. Pats are clear for takeoff, baby. Let's go. Super Bowl or bust. Time to go. But thank you so much for watching, sticking around. Don't forget, like, follow, share, subscribe. If it can take, just a few seconds. I know a vast majority of you who watch this are not subscribed onto my YouTube channel. If you could, just take a quick second. Please subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you anything. And it means I get to keep doing this show and doing it for free, which I love. So thank you, guys. And don't forget, look over, subscribe, and follow on Instagram, Boston Sports Summit, on X, Boston Sports Summit. And we got some great content over at The Grid. We got our Saturday morning tailgate, college football show, myself, Bryson, and Arthur. Great group of guys. A lot of fun talking college football. We got a ton of other great content creators over there as well. So give The Grid a follow as well if you could. Otherwise, this is the Boston Sports Summit. I am your host, Tim Barnett. We are presented by The Grid Network, and I just want to thank you guys once again. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and God bless. Thank you very much. Have a great night.